I'm waiting. I'm going live on my computer as well, which just popped up. Alrighty, the videos are named two different things, but they're pretty much me saying the same thing. This video is going to be a little bit longer because not only am I going to recap what happened on Big Brother tonight, I'm also going to talk about the situation more in depth, so that way people who are maybe casual viewers have a better understanding of what transpired. So, to recap everything, as you all saw, Sam won HOH. The explanation she used to put Caitlyn and Haley on the block, I personally didn't agree with. However, it is what it is. She did what she wanted to do. That's all we can say about that. That HOH competition, I personally felt that the house guests didn't want it bad enough. I mean, we've seen in the past people stay up there for hours, and like it lasted like barely what, an hour and what, 15 minutes. That wasn't very long for me. And so for the Bailey Scotty side of the house, Scotty went like ghost, by the way, like no one knows where Scotty's at. For them to actually want to compete, they've got to bring it. They're not bringing it, y'all. And it's unfortunate because I feel like they are the smarter side, yet they can't figure out who keeps flipping the votes, and that is so frustrating as a viewer to watch. Not only on the casual episodes, but on the live feeds. It's like they go from this conspiracy to that conspiracy, and they just have no idea who's doing what. And Evil Dick, I follow him. I say it all the time. We looked on his Twitter. If you look on his Twitter page, he talks about how like week two he realized Eric was doing it. People were catching on too that Eric was doing it, but they couldn't like prove it necessarily. Dick was the only one who's like, you know what, Eric, I think it's you, and he had a like incident with the hammock scene in his season. For whatever reason, these people can't figure out that it's Tyler and JC toeing the line, playing both sides, and it's so frustrating to watch. And that whole like exchange with Haley, Rockstar, and Caitlyn, Haley was actually the first one who said maybe Sam used her power. Then Caitlyn jumped up and said, "Yeah, that has to be it. Everyone's telling the truth. Nobody's lying." And you start thinking, no, somebody's lying. They need to figure out who's lying. And it's Tyler and JC. And when Caitlyn said maybe it's Tyler and JC, I was like, finally, the entire live feed Big Brother universe was like, yes, she's on to him. Then Haley drops the whole Sam could use the power and completely changes everything that Caitlyn was thinking, and it frustrated the heck out of me. Another thing that I didn't like about this episode was the whole Rockstar thing with the pots and pans. Evil Dick started it. Let's get that. Gosh, from Big Brother 19. No, 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 no. Evil Dick did it first. Anyway, for Brett, and for whatever reason, production decided not to show the part where Brett was like, "Get off of me, get off of me." Did she lay? She was laying on him first, but then she sort of got up, but she kept banging the pots and pans. They never really showed how uncomfortable Brett was. Up a point for a lot of live feeders, for a lot of people, watching. If it was a man doing that to a woman, how would people react? It's a rhetorical question, of course, because everyone knows how the Twitterverse, how the internet would react. They'd be mad as hell. It's true. A man can't do that to a woman, but apparently a woman can do that to a man, and it can be celebrated. Like in Brett sort of like was like saying, "Oh, all the other house guests are getting uncomfortable." Not really. A lot of them were cheering it on. JC was liking it. Tyler liking it. Like Tyler was like, "Oh, can I go out there?" Like no one really cared besides Sam. Sam was actually upset about it, and pulled Rockstar aside and tried to get an explanation out. That's why Rockstar was afraid that she was going to get nominated to begin with, because that all happened before nominations were made. But I mean, it is what it is. The nominations were the HOH. I felt like they could have like went a little bit harder. I feel like these house guests are in for a rude awakening, because that HOH competition, that endurance competition, to me is not the worst one that they've had in the past. They've had some pretty bad endurance competitions. Wait for the whole slippy slide one where they've got to like wear those special shoes that they slip all over the place. I'm going to laugh my ass off. And I'm pretty sure you guys are too. That's just going to be hilarious. But I know why many of you are coming to this video. And I'm going to try and explain this the best way I can. And before I start, it is not my intention to degrade anyone, to pick sides, but as a gay man and a black man, I can see both sides of this issue because I have been on both sides. If you watch live feeds, Bailey was having a casual conversation with JC prior. She simply asked, when she said midget, she simply asked, is there a difference like between a dwarf and a midget? Because I don't really know. She asked that because she didn't know if it was offensive or not. If you go online, there are a lot of articles about this already. Many people who are shorter, who have dwarfism, who are consider themselves little, they're pretty divided. Some think it's offensive, some think it's not. It's just a term that was used. We are slowly, I guess, progressing when it comes to political correctness and correct terminology. And the consensus is now that the word midget is derogatory. But it hasn't always been that way. I'm going to say this word probably several times throughout the video. So if this word makes you feel uncomfortable, good, because it should. Nigger has never, ever been anything but a negative term. I have never heard that term used in a positive way. Now, I have seen plenty of articles trying to explain away JC's behavior, saying that Bailey started it. But being gay in a very heterosexual environment, I was in a fraternity, and a lot of them were kind of, curious because they're like, yo, like, we say these words all the time. There's no other gay guy in the fraternity, and we don't want to offend you. Does the word faggot like mean like is it bad? And I would explain to them, being called a faggot isn't something that I enjoy. I hate being called a faggot. It's really degrading because it lets people know that they can call me whatever they want. They can say whatever they want, and it's just not fair. It's a very demeaning term. But I explained that to them knowing that they didn't know what faggot meant to me on a personal level. Bailey did not know what the word midget meant to JC. That's just how it goes. The clip online, if you can find it, I'm not sure if they took it down. Bailey asked, and she even said in her question, I'm trying to educate myself. Hey, is the word midget offensive? And so JC continued to said, calling a short person midget is like calling, is like saying faggot to a gay person. At which point Bailey said, oh, okay, I understand, I get it. But then JC continued to say, or like saying nigger to a black. It was like, whoa, 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 you can't say that. No, don't say that. JC was trying to explain away his use of the N word. If you go, people can call other black people this, then why can't we say it? It's just a word. It's in their rap music. There are 4 iterations of the N word. There's Negro, there's nigga, there's niglet, and then there's nigger. I don't use any of those unless I'm doing something like this and explaining to you all what each one means. I don't like any of them. I am for the eradication of all 4. However, I am a realist. I know that's not going to happen. If someone says, what's up, nigga, that doesn't mean what's up, nigger. That's not the same thing. Those aren't the same thing. Those words are not interchangeable. You cannot use those interchangeably. So if you're listening to a rap song and it says nigga, they mean nigga. They don't mean nigger. So to say, oh, black people say that to each other all the time, no, they don't. We don't call each other niggers. I'm sorry. That's just how it goes. If you want to say, well, they say it, so we can say it. First off, why do you want to say it? What does it mean to you to say the N-word? Any of them. Why is it so important? I can't stand it. So why do you want to? Like, that's the part that eats at me sometimes. Because that whole argument, oh, I feel like I'm being discriminated against because I can't say a particular word. Why do you want to be allowed to say hate speech? Like, I don't get it. I just don't. I don't want to side with Bailey. I don't want to side with JC. Both of them could have handled things a little bit differently. Bailey in my opinion, handled things. I'm sorry, this hand. Bailey handled things, in my opinion, a little more gracefully than JC did, because I felt like JC was on the defensive the entire time, just trying to explain why he used the word. But I also felt like he was trying to get back at Bailey for saying something that he found offensive, but she didn't know that. I am almost positive, I'm almost certain that JC knew that saying nigger in front of Bailey was going to have a negative reaction. I'm almost certain because JC, though some people may argue that he's not very smart, I think he's smart enough to know that. Bailey was asking a question. People ask questions to better educate themselves. When people have responses the way that JC responds, it doesn't do anybody any good. It doesn't. And so I feel kind of upset. I feel kind of bad because it's not fair. But hey, what are you gonna do? I also, what was I gonna say? Because right now, just thinking about it, just really hurts. I understand that both of them are very insecure in who they are. JC more so than Bailey, but both of them really similar in who he is, plain and simple. The way he sort of broke down about his height and the way that it's always sort of a topic of discussion. He keeps saying it, oh, it's not an issue, it's not this, it's not that. But I think he's trying to tell himself that he's trying to convince himself that him being short isn't a handicap or something like that in his eyes. And it's not really working because I think we all see through that. He's upset with who he is. And for you to get triggered off of someone asking you a question so that way they don't offend you, that to me I don't understand. And I felt like if you watch the live feeds, he was trying to get back at Bailey for something that she didn't understand. And when it comes to ignorance, first off, we need to know and understand that ignorance is not an evil term. It's not a devil term. People often use that word to call somebody out or degrade someone, but being called ignorant is something that you just have to get over because we're all ignorant in some ways. I'm ignorant about a lot of things. Ask me about a gun, I couldn't tell you anything about it. I'm ignorant towards guns. I'm ignorant towards a lot of laws. I'm an ignorant person. So is everyone watching this video. And I hate to quote this, but I'm going to quote it because I love me some Disney's Pocahontas. If you walk the footsteps of a stranger, you'll learn things you never knew you never knew. And it's true. As a kid, I listened to that lyric and I'm like, huh, that makes sense because it does make a lot of sense because it's true. And it's sad that this was sort of edited, in my opinion, out of context. It sort of made JC the victim here and Bailey sort of like the passive aggressive one. And in fact, JC sort of instigated all of this. And I don't know. There are a lot of people who are going to say Bailey's at fault and she needs to get over it. Black people say the N word all the time. That's not true. Y'all, it's just a mess. We've got to educate ourselves as a culture, as an American culture, about other cultures that exist within ours. Because we are Americans, that is true. But we are also something else. Everyone is something else. And I'm not saying that you got to go out there, write a paper, read some couple hundred books about other people and their culture, but just learn what to say and what not to say. And if you do offend somebody, even if it's unintentional, just say, you know what, I'm sorry, I didn't mean that, and apologize. And at that point, you can absolve yourself. It's also a teaching moment. Do I think JC learned from this? No. I think he feels that he was justified in saying it. And that's the hard part. Because this was a teachable moment. And I'm not sure what Big Brother was trying to do by showing this in this episode. Are they trying to teach the audience or what they were trying to do? I guess they were just trying to make all the bad press go away. I don't know what they were trying to do with this, y'all. It's just a very sad situation. But tell me what you think. Leave some comments. I have two videos going at the same time, which is why I keep looking back and forth. And I see you guys are watching. Some of you are commenting, and I'm sorry I haven't gotten to your comments, but this is a long video. Let me see. Did anyone say anything? No, no one else said anything on this video. If you share your thoughts, tell me what you think. If you saw the live feeds before this video, before this episode aired, tell me what you think. Because I saw a lot of people on Twitter were really upset on how they showed Bailey and they showed JC. And it's like Big Brother picked sides. And I don't want to. Being both gay and black, I don't want to pick a side. But sometimes you're going to have to.